Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome everyone for our forum group discussion for today. For our today motion, we will discussing about the KUHAP bill or RUU KUHAP. But before we get into the motion or the main discussion, I'd like to introduce my team member first. First, we have Saeful Bahri. Second, we have Dimas Ari Nugroho. And third, myself, Muhamad Ridwan Pratama. And as for our motion for today is a critical review of the KUHAP bill or RUU KUHAP. Next. Okay, so introduction for today. After more than 40 years, the revision of the KUHAP was expected to become a historic milestone in Indonesian legal reform. It carried strong expectation to strengthen human rights protection and restore meaningful judicial oversight within the criminal justice system. This reform was never meant to be merely a technical, it was constitutional and democratic in nature. However, to properly assess this law, we must first understand the context in which it was passed and why that context raises serious concern. On uh, November 18, 2025, the KUHAP bill was officially passed into the law by the DPR. During this process, public criticism circulated widely through posters and analyses produced by civil society groups or koalisi masyarakat sipil. Instead of engaging with this concern on their substance, key parliamentary figure initially dismissed them as hoax. Although this statement was later corrected, the narrative quickly shifted toward accusing civil society actors of being misleading, inattentive, or even lazy. This response is significant. Rather than fostering open debate, the process relied on stigmatization and the legitimation of criticism. Such an approach raises serious question about the quality of the democratic deliberation, especially when the law in question governs the most coercive power of the state. Next. Next, please. So, in response to those statements by the DPR official, civil society coalition strongly criticized this accusation and stigmatizing labels. Instead of engaging in substantive discussion, lawmakers were perceived as dismissing criticism through delegitimizing narrative, which raised concerns about the quality of democratic deliberation. From the beginning, the demand was clear. Reform must be fundamental, addressing the root problems of the criminal justice system, particularly weak judicial oversight and the risk of human rights violation. Okay, in here we can see the poster that is circulating in social media about the RUU KUHAP that were labeled as hoax by the members of DPR. And the coalition emphasized that the four widely circulated issues are not hoax, but results of a critical reading of the KUHAP bill. From the beginning, civil society demanded a fundamental reform addressing the root problems of the criminal justice. Instead, the law is seen as responsive, reinforcing corrupt practice and preserving weak judicial scrutiny. Coercive measure affecting citizens' human rights remains insufficiently supervised by courts. After 44 years without revision, the reform is considered deeply disappointing for failing to be comprehensive. Okay, next. So for the next points, for the next main discussion will be addressed by my friend Saeful Bahri.
Okay, next there are article contained in KUHAP. In the article contained in the KUHAP regarding wiretapping, units blocking, confiscation, and even arts in particular, there is about of authority to the point of unclear limits and conditions because the form of the Constitution is still imaginary based on the Constitution, but has been given the authority of investigators. This has given to pros and cons in the war committee. Next, arts and arts and detention no fundamental change. Article 93, 99, and 1100. Judicial authorization remain absent at the initial stage. Authority do derive liberty still life white non-judicial authors. In like democratic standards. Now detention grounds are high like subjective such as providing inaccurate information, obstructing investigation, the contradicts the right to silence and invite about boss.
Okay, next point 5. And Article 16. Undercover operation as at investigation stage. Undercover by and controlled that delivery place at investigation, not prosecution stage. And explanation limits them to narcotics cases, but only in explanatory notes, not articles, and create inconsistency with narcotics law, which classifies them as persecution techniques. Legal ambiguity. Open space for misuse of covered power. And at the point 6, restorative justice at investigation states in Article 74A and 79. As any like blurs the function of investigation, which should only confirm whether a crime occurred, and risks premature identification of perpetrators and victims. Court oversight is unclear and procedurally inconsistent across articles. Weakness safeguard against early states' right violation. And next point 7, police as a main investigators in articles 6, 7, 8, and 24. P- PPNS and specialized investigators placed under police supervision and control undermines independence of sectoral investigators with specific expertise, expand police power into specialized domain unnecessarily, risk creating a superpower police authority without proportional oversight, without serious engagement on substance. The COHAP law risk chaotic implementation and systemic right violation. And at this point, we can see central problems of the power concentration when the police are positioned as the main investigator overseeing other investigators. There are risks of excessive centralization. Sector investigators have specific technical expertise and pulling all authority to the police doesn't create efficiency, but instead increase the risk of abuse of power with limited oversight. And a conclusion. What revision was expected to strengthen human rights and judicial oversight after 40 plus years. And the 2025 co-upload instead expands coercive power and release on subjective discretion. And seven critical issues show that roots problems remain unaddressed. Reform risks institutionalizing abuse, legal uncer- uncertainty, and inconsistent enforcement. Implementation starting to January 2026 carries serious risks without adequate safeguard. Genuine reform must prioritize accountability, judicial control, and constitutional principle. The revision of PUHAP was expected to improve the system after decades, but many provisions actually repeat or even worsen existing problems with subjective authority and a weak judicial oversight and a risk of human rights violation becomes institutionalized without serious revision. And therefore criticism of PUHAP bill is not misinformation but from of democratic oversight. Critical discussion like this are essential to ensure that criminal law remains aligned with justice and constitutional values. Thank you.